She arrived late, head down, just trying to finish her shift. The CEO noticed her too late. She wasn't going home that night. The lobby was quiet, too quiet for a building that usually hummed with ambition and hurry. It was the night before Christmas Eve, and most of the offices sat dark. Only the ground floor lights remained on, casting long shadows across polished marble that reflected nothing but stillness. Outside, snow had begun to fall in thin, silent sheets. Inside, the air smelled faintly of pine from a decorated tree no one had stopped to admire. This was the kind of place where people worked, not where they lingered. And tonight, even the workers were gone. All except one. She arrived 20 minutes late. Her name was Clara, though no one in the building knew that yet. She pushed through the glass doors with her shoulder, dragging a wheeled cleaning cart behind her. Her coat was damp. Her sneakers squeaked against the floor. She didn't look around. She just moved toward the service elevator with her head slightly down, her breath still uneven from rushing. She wasn't supposed to be noticed. That was the job. Clean after hours, stay invisible, leave no trace except order. But someone did notice. Daniel Mercer stood near the reception desk, coat folded over one arm, phone in hand. He was the CEO of the company that leased 5 floors of this building. 42 years old, successful by every measure that mattered in boardrooms. He had stayed late to finish a call he didn't need to take, and was now waiting for a car he didn't need to summon himself. He glanced up when the doors opened. He saw her pause at the threshold. He saw her wipe her face quickly with the back of her hand. He thought maybe she was cold or tired. He went back to his phone. Clara moved through the lobby with mechanical precision. She had done this job for 8 months. Same building, same floors, same silence. She started with the trash bins near the elevator, then moved toward the sitting area by the windows. Her hands worked fast, but her mind was somewhere else. It kept circling back to the same image. The padlock, the door, the landlord's voice, flat and final. "You're 2 months behind. I changed the locks this morning. Don't come back until you pay." She had stood there on the sidewalk with her daughter's hand in hers, staring at the door that no longer opened. Everything they owned was inside. Clothes, dishes, her daughter's school books, the stuffed rabbit she slept with. Gone. Not gone. Just locked away. Which somehow felt worse. She hadn't cried. There wasn't time. She had dropped her daughter at a friend's house, promised to pick her up later and come straight to work. Because what else was there to do? She couldn't miss a shift. She couldn't lose this job. Not now. Not when it was the only thread holding anything together. So she apologized to the shift supervisor for being late. She didn't explain why. She just said sorry and started working. And now here she was, wiping down glass tables in an empty building, while her child waited in someone else's home, wondering when her mother would come get her. Daniel looked up again. Clara was closer now, moving between the chairs with a rag in her hand. She worked quickly, but something about her rhythm felt off, distracted. He watched her stop mid-motion and close her eyes for just a second. Then she continued. He didn't know why he kept watching. Maybe because the building felt too empty. Maybe because she looked like she was carrying something heavier than the cleaning supplies. She finished the lobby and moved toward the hallways. Daniel followed at a distance, not intentionally, just walking the same direction toward the elevator. He saw her stop at a window and stare out into the snow. Her reflection was faint in the glass. She stood there longer than she should have, long enough that he almost said something. But then she turned and kept working. He got into the elevator. The doors closed. He told himself it wasn't his business. But an hour later, when his car still hadn't arrived and he came back downstairs, he saw her again. This time she was sitting on the floor near the service closet, head resting against the wall, eyes closed. Not asleep, just still. Her hands were in her lap. Her cart sat a few feet away. She looked like someone who had been moving for too long and finally stopped because her body made her. Daniel walked past, then stopped. He turned back. "Are you all right?" His voice was quieter than he expected. She opened her eyes and sat up quickly, startled. "I'm fine. Sorry, I was just—" She stood, brushing off her pants. "I'll get back to it." He didn't move. "You don't look fine." She met his eyes for the first time. There was no anger there, no defensiveness, just exhaustion, the kind that lived deep. "I'm fine," she repeated, but her voice cracked just slightly on the second word. She looked away. Daniel didn't push. He just nodded and walked toward the door. But something stopped him. Maybe it was the way she had apologized for sitting down. Maybe it was the way she hadn't asked for anything. He turned back again. "Do you need a ride somewhere?" She shook her head. "No, thank you." He waited. "Where are you going after this?" She hesitated. "I'm picking up my daughter." "From home?" Another pause. Longer this time. "From a friend's." He heard what she didn't say. "And after that?" She looked at him fully now. Her face was calm, but her eyes weren't. "I don't know yet." It took 3 more questions before he understood. She didn't say it all at once. She didn't lay it out like a story. She just answered what he asked piece by piece until the shape of it became clear. She had been locked out that morning. She had nowhere to go. Her daughter was waiting. She hadn't eaten since breakfast. She was cleaning floors in a corporate building on Christmas Eve because she didn't know what else to do, and she still hadn't asked him for anything. Daniel stood there in the empty lobby, coat in hand, phone dark in his pocket, and felt something shift inside him. Not pity, something sharper, something uncomfortably close to shame. He had walked past her twice. He had spent the last hour annoyed that his car was delayed, and she had been sitting on the floor of his building, trying to figure out where her child would sleep. He didn't say anything for a long moment. Then he spoke. "Come with me." She didn't move. "I can't. I have to finish." "You're finished," he said. "Come on." He walked toward the door. She followed, hesitant, confused. Outside, his car had finally arrived. He opened the door. "Get in." She stared at him. "I don't understand." "You will," he said. "Please." They drove in silence. Clara sat in the back seat, hands folded tightly in her lap, watching streetlights blur past. Daniel made 2 phone calls. Quiet, clipped. When they stopped, it wasn't at a shelter. It wasn't at a motel. It was at a small apartment building on the east side. He got out. She followed. He led her to a unit on the 2nd floor and unlocked the door. Inside, it was small but clean, furnished, warm. He handed her the key. "It's yours for now. Or longer. We'll figure it out." She stared at him. "I don't." "You don't have to," he said. "Just take it." Clara stood in the doorway of that apartment, key in hand, and for the first time that day she cried. Not loud, not long. Just enough to let something break that had been holding too tight. Daniel didn't stay. He left before she could say thank you. He didn't want her gratitude. He just wanted her to be safe. The next morning he called his assistant. He told her to create a new position, emergency relief coordinator, internal support staff, someone to make sure no one in his company was invisible. He didn't announce it. He didn't take credit. He just did it because he had learned something the night before. Success wasn't measured in profit margins. It was measured in whether the people around you had a place to sleep. Clara picked up her daughter that afternoon. They spent Christmas Eve in their new apartment, eating takeout on the floor, wrapped in borrowed blankets. Her daughter asked if they could stay. Clara said yes, and for the first time in months, she believed it. Kindness doesn't always come with a spotlight. Sometimes it comes in the form of a key, a question, a moment when someone chooses to see you, and that changes everything. If this story reminded you that compassion still exists, share it. Leave a comment. Let someone know they're not invisible.